We have three main strands, main schools of thought when it comes to politics. When I say politics, I mean the choice of leadership. How do you choose leaders? Who is a leader? There are three schools of thought in early Islam. This is in the 1st century. At this point, the Shia school of thought is not a theological school of thought, it's just politics. You could still be a Sunni and believe in Abu Bakr and Umar, but you become Shia because you believe that Ali deserved it more than the other Khulafa. So there was no difference in terms of practice of Islam. It was just a political tendency that I am Shi'at Ali. I follow or I support Ali in his claim for the Khilafah. And later on that moves on to his sons, Al-Hassan and Hussein. So there were three schools of thought. Later on, of course, the Shia school of thought becomes a theology. It becomes a theology. Namely after Karbala. It becomes a completely different movement altogether. And the Khawarij. So if you look at the Sunni school of thought, Ibn Khaldun tells us in the Muqaddimah, there are 5 conditions for a ruler which Muawiyah fulfills. The first condition is ilm, is knowledge. You have to have knowledge. Knowledge is not knowledge of Islam only, it's about knowledge of governance, how to rule, how to run an economy. You need to be knowledgeable about the job that you're going to take on. Secondly is probity, or what is known as adala. Sometimes it's written as translated as faith, but it's not correct. It's not a condition. It's already taken into account that you're a Muslim, so it's not a matter of iman. It's a matter of, can we trust you? Are you reliable? Are you credible? Adala. Competence. Are you able to carry out the job? Do you have the capacity to carry out the job? And that's where Yazid falls short for many people. He wasn't competent. And then freedom. Freedom is 2 dimensions. Freedom physically is in you're not a prisoner, you're not a slave, because once you become a prisoner, you can no longer lead the Muslims. Once you become a slave, you can no longer lead the Muslims. You need to be free. You need to be free. And also physically, as in if you have like a blindness or you have like a physical ailment, you cannot be a Khalifa. You cannot be a Khalifa. Your limbs have to be sound. So a man who has one arm cannot be a Khalifa. Which, by the way, I'm going to give you a bit of an insight here. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told the companions, you need to obey your rulers. Even if an Abyssinian were put in charge of you, a slave, an Abyssinian, and his head was disformed like a raisin, you should still obey him. People take this to be sometimes non-Muslims as an attack. Look at how he describes black people. No. This is called balagha. It's a way of hyperbole. Because it's not possible for a slave to lead anyone, whether he's a white slave or a black slave. It's not allowed for somebody who is deficient in physical terms, disabled or something, to lead. Furthermore, the Abyssinians were enemies of the Arabs. They were the ones who tried to come and conquer Mecca. So by mentioning these conditions that were impossible anyway, it was an emphasis that even if such an impossibility happened, you should still obey your rulers. It wasn't a way of denigrating black people. It's saying even if all of these impossibilities were combined, you should still obey your rulers. And the 5th condition, which is now abrogated, is that they should be Qurayshi. It's abrogated because later on we know that the Qurayshi lineage didn't really necessarily exist to such an extent, and we had rulers from various different parts of the world, the Ottomans, the Mamluks, and various others. So that condition was removed. Al-Baqillani says that because it was no longer possible to enact it, it had to be abrogated. But it doesn't mean that it cannot be reinstated later on. If you do have a Qurayshi who can rule, for example Al-Mahdi, you bring that back. But it should not be a mani', shouldn't, how do you say, mani', it blocks the ruling. It shouldn't be a condition, because if you add that condition, you may not have a ruler. Okay, so that is a 5th condition that is not applied. It's a silent condition. Okay? So we know that. So this is the Sunni perspective. Knowledge, should be trustworthy, should be able to do the job, and should be free physically, but also in terms of their faculties. And then if we can find one who is a Qurayshi, even better. Okay? So the school of thought amongst the Sunnis is very simple. What's missing from this? What's missing from this list? Anyone? What's missing from this list? That if you think of the protests, the uprisings in the Muslim world that people demand from leaders, what is the one thing they want that's missing from here? It's not a condition for the Sunnis.
Welcome to HistoryUn, the world's leading online learning platform specializing in Islamic history. To discover the HistoryUn mobile app and participate in regular live and interactive seminars and tune in directly from your handset from anywhere in the world. Enjoy instant access to a growing catalog of on-demand streaming content exclusive to the platform, accessible from a variety of devices including desktops, tablets, and cell phones. Connect instantly with our global community of history enthusiasts via our private community forum. To find out more about our online history programs and resources, visit our website today at www.historyun.com.